You know, you used to have one-day election. Now you have it go over it. But even if you just took that little period, because it was pretty obvious it was going to be a landslide. But, and they like that, but they love the tariffs. I had Texas Instruments come in the other day, big company, and he said, we're putting in $60 billion into new plants and new equipment, new everything. Sir, you're going to keep the tariffs, aren't you? Because if I ever took the tariffs off, and we are going to absolutely keep it. And they're worried that somebody that, like this communist from New York, someday gets elected. I can't believe that's happening. That's a terrible thing for our country, by the way. He's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic state. That's so bad for New York. But the rest of the country is revolting against it.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. With the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we have to head on over to New Venezuela. Why is that? Because it looks like things are going to get a lot worse in New Venezuela, formerly known as New York City, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, because it looks like they are getting ready to vote in as mayor. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point. A socialist by the name of Zohran Mamdani, if I remember his name correctly, right? I remember over the course of the last, you could say 2 years, when I would do numerous live streams and numerous videos on the Emperor of the People's Republic of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. And I would say over and over again, for those of you who do not live in Chicago, right, but you're outside of Chicago in a blue city, you know, don't ever think it can't get worse, because that's what the people of Chicago thought. They thought that when they voted out Lori Lightfoot, that there was no way things could possibly get worse than Lori. And then in comes Emperor Brandon Johnson. And it appears that this looks like this could be the same situation in New York, from Eric Adams to Mamdani, right? Mamdani is a socialist who is really selling pie in the sky. And that's why I really wanted to talk about him today and talk about the mayor race in New York, because I'm starting to notice this trend, right? Or I shouldn't say a trend, but I'm starting to notice that many people in the New York area are speaking up, including Eric Adams, who we're looking at right now, who are exposing the fact that this man is selling pie in the sky, the socialist dream, where in New York, it's going to be free everything, everything you can think of is free. But he's lying. He's promising a bunch of stuff that he knows he can't do. But these DNC lunatics in New York are deciding to put him in anyways, which is unbelievable. I mean, to be honest with you as well, it appears as if Mamdani may actually be even worse than Brandon Johnson just because of how radical he is. So what I want to do first is I want to play this video here of Eric Adams. Eric Adams just really exposed Mamdani for who he is. And I quote, a snake oil salesman. Let's take a listen to what Eric Adams had to say, and then we'll get back into the discussion.
You had one candidate that was running away from his record. You had another candidate with no record. And you have Eric Adams with a record. I delivered for the city, and we're not going backwards. We're not going into a place where we want to defund the police, don't invest in jobs, where we believe we can make broken promises that we can't deliver. I delivered on every promise I gave to
Mr. Mayor, it's not just defund the police. This candidate, Democratic Socialist, he wants to freeze the rent. He wants city-run grocery stores, social workers to replace the police, because that's going to help. He wants $60 billion of debt fund for affordable housing. He wants free buses, no cost for childcare, baby baskets for newborn, and a $30 minimum wage. How can someone vote for this?
He's a snake oil salesman. Mm-hmm. He will say and do anything to get elected. Think about this for a moment. He wants to raise 1%. He wants to raise tax on 1% of New York's high-income earners. As the mayor, you don't have the authority to do that. You know who has the authority to do that? An assemblyman, which he is. He wants to do free buses. He could have done it at Assemblyman. He doesn't understand the power of government and how you must making sure you improve your economy, raise the standard of living, and this is what we've done in the city. And I'm looking forward to being on the campaign trail and showing New Yorkers we can't go backwards. And New Yorkers never surrender or quit. I'm never going to quit for the city that I love.
That is.
So I only thing I would slightly disagree with him is when he states that Mamdani doesn't understand. No, he understands. I don't give people the benefit of the doubt like that. Mamdani understands. He's just a liar. He's just a liar, a snake oil salesman, like Eric Adams says, because in the position that he currently holds, these are things that he could organize to put in place now, right? With other assembly members in New York City, New Venezuela. But he's not, and they're not, right? You know, why haven't they at least even attempted or tried to do this yet? It's because on many levels, they're not serious about this pie in the sky stuff that they say that they're going to do. But they say these things to get elected and then still turn the city upside down and trash it, essentially for their own personal benefit at the end of the day. A lot like Brandon Johnson in the People's Republic of Chicago, right? It's just like that. I want to get into this next clip here as well of another individual that's saying the same thing concerning Mamdani, right? This is very consistent. Everybody knows that he's lying and he's selling pie in the sky nonsense, but it also says a lot about those that are willing to vote for him. How do you put somebody in office that you know is lying? Going back to the hypocrisy of these DNC lunatics. Oh my God, Trump is a liar. Trump lies about everything, and Trump. This guy, Trump has gotten in office and he's doing literally everything that he said he was going to do. Everything he said he was going to do. Even the stuff that some of you guys are upset about concerning, you know, Iran and Israel. No, I know everybody in Israel, you know, some of you guys freak out, you know, but even with him, with Trump bombing Iran, are you really surprised? No, I don't think any of us should have actually been surprised. You can feel how you want to feel about it. And I want to derail the conversation because I know when it comes to that, Lord have mercy. Okay. You know, but my point is that Trump essentially has turned out to be a man of his word and doing the things that he said he was going to do. Even in bombing Iran, you know, once again, you can feel how you want to feel about it, but it's not a surprise given the loyalty that he said that he would have towards Israel. So even when he's going off script, doing something that you don't want him to do or that you disagree with, it's not really a shock. You get what I'm saying? But when you're talking about these so-called progressive, I just categorize them as they are DNC lunatics. They're just outright lying. But the people that support them, they don't care at all. It speaks volumes about these kind of voters, right? And it's actually a little concerning. Now let's get into this clip here. It's another clip of another individual just expressing the same thing about Mamdani, that this guy's a liar, and he knows he's a liar. He's not going to do anything that he says he's going to do. Let's get into this clip next.
It's been a long time since this gentleman appeared on this program, but we welcome his return.
Yeah.
Bradley Tusk, he's the CEO of Tusk Ventures. Bradley, you think Mamdani's going to win, don't you?
I do. Look, he won pretty decisively in the primary. About 1 million votes were cast in the Democratic primary. 4 years ago in the general election, just 1.1 million votes were cast. And so it's really hard to see where the extra votes would come from to elect Eric Adams or Andrew Cuomo or Curtis Sliwa or anyone else.
What impact, let's start with Wall Street.
Yeah.
What impact on Wall Street, the investment community, the investment banks, if we got a socialist mayor?
Minimal. So look, literally, I'm a venture capitalist, and the title capitalist is in my job, and I certainly am not a Mamdani supporter. But the mayor's mainly has an impact over the city itself, its operations. Is it clean? Is it safe? Is it well run? And look, if the city is dirty and dangerous, less people want to live here and work here, and there is an impact that way. But the notion of all of a sudden capitalism is leaving New York, or taxes are going to triple, or we're going to have government-operated businesses. Like, he doesn't even have the power to do any of that. Those are all great campaign slogans that, look, he's a smart politician. The people voting in a Democratic primary in New York City are exceedingly liberal, and he understood what he needed to say to win those votes. But the vast majority of what he promised, he doesn't have the power to do.
It was only...
You see, what this also tells me as well, and it speaks to what we always say all the time on this channel when you talk about DNC lunatics, particularly the politicians like a Jasmine Crockett or AOC, that they hate Trump more than they love the country, right? And essentially, they'll destroy the country if it means they can destroy Trump. And at the end of the day, this is really what it's all about. This man will destroy New York City if it means that he can just frustrate any and everything that Trump is trying to do to, make America great again, which would also then ripple to making New York great again, right? Or New York City. Because essentially, if you pay attention to Mamdani, and I've been paying attention, I've listened to the things that he's been saying here and there, free this, free everything. One of the things that he's consistent in saying is talking about Trump proofing New York City. He says it over and over again. At Trump proofing New York City. So everything that he's doing, it's not even about making New York City great. It's not about restoring New York. It's just about different ways of trying to frustrate Trump's plans and ideas, to restore the country, and even to restore, New York State and New York City. Everything is about being a spoiler with these DNC lunatics. That's why I call them who they are, DNC lunatics. You're just trying to be a spoiler. You're just a troll. You're just a clown. You're just a goofy. These people are not serious about politics. And Mamdani clearly isn't serious about politics because he's promising you guys a bunch of stuff in New York that he knows he's not going to do and that he knows he can't do. And he's also a supreme hypocrite. Let me get into what's my man's name. He just said his name, Curtis CY or Sewell, the guy that always wears the red beret, because he highlighted just extreme hypocrisy concerning defunding the police, right? And his own personal security. Let me get into this clip next. Check this out. This is ridiculous.
If we can pull up some of his proposals here. You got freeze the rent, city-run grocery stores, $70 billion worth of debt to fund affordable housing, free buses, no-cost childcare, baby baskets to newborns, $30 minimum wage, a few more not on this list here, defund NYPD, defund prisons, defund medical bills, and get rid of private insurance. Your thoughts?
But in typical political fashion, do as I say, not as I do. He claims he's under threat, right? So who's protecting him now? Off-duty NYPD armed officers. Who does he want protecting New Yorkers? Social workers. Yeah. Hey, Mamdani, do what you suggest everybody do. Why isn't he being protected by social workers? I'm a guy who was shot 5 times by the Gattis and Gambinos in 1992. I travel by myself. I'm in the streets. I'm in the subways. I'm the people's mayor. You have to have a feel. I hate to break the baby boomers' bubble, because I'm a baby boomer. The millennials are the majority now. Do the analytics. You must get millennials on your side to win elections. I've been working with young people my whole life as leader of the Guardian Angels here and in 13 countries and 130 cities around the world.
Okay, so we'll bring that down. We don't need to listen to the rest of what he's saying, but I really just wanted to highlight what he was talking about concerning the hypocrisy. Cori Bush, former Congresswoman Cori Bush, she was voted out, in her last election, was the same way. These people say defund the police, but she got her own private security. She had private security, and then let's be honest, she stole money. In my opinion, I assume, right? She took her campaign funds. Those of you who are subscribed to the channel, remember we discussed this on this channel. She said that the private security that she was paying for, excuse me, with her campaign funds, the private security that she was paying for, they were sleeping on the job. Quote, they were sleeping on the job. They weren't protecting her. So then what she did was that she took her campaign money that she was using to pay for private security and started paying her husband to be her private security with her campaign funds. These people are all crooks. Okay. These people are all crooks as well as psychopaths. I should have talked about this in the beginning of the video, but I'll talk about it now. I just want to bring this up just for the sake of bringing this up and showing you guys. How many of you guys remember with Mamdani? It was when Tom Homan came to New York a few months back. Mamdani ran into Tom Homan, or I should say he basically pursued Tom Homan, and was protesting against Tom Homan. And Mamdani acted like a complete psychopath. Check this video out right here. Acted like a lunatic.
How many more New Yorkers not charged? Do you believe in the First Amendment? Do you believe in the First Amendment, Tom Homan? How many more New Yorkers will the charge not targeted?
Now, like I said earlier, I brought that up just to bring it up, just to show you guys that this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the lunatic, but like Cori Bush, is really all about enriching himself, right? I sell garbage to you, I get in office, and I get rich. That's what this is all about. It's about enriching yourself and then being a spoiler for Trump. Now, I want to get into some other things too as I round this video out. I just really want to show you how psychotic this guy is, man. I mean, he's just literally saying anything. Look at this here. Let me move this off the screen and look at this. Okay, so this is from Charlie Kirk, right? I'll make this bigger so you could all read this together. This is completely ludicrous. Zohran Mamdani is promising to hike the tax burden of whiter neighborhoods. What? And you know, you can see here, I'll click on this actual here, right here, where it's getting this from. White neighborhoods understand where we are. Okay, this is Zohran from New York. Okay, you see this here, this part that's bold. Shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. This guy is literally just saying anything. He's just saying anything, right? But it doesn't mean that just because he's just saying anything and most of the stuff he's not going to do, it doesn't mean he still can't run the city into the ground like Brandon Johnson did in Chicago. That's not what that means. So yes, he's a liar. Is he going to do the things that he said he's going to do? For the most part, by and large, and no, he's not doing any of the stuff that he says. The majority of the stuff that he's talking about, he's not going to do it, and he can't do it, right? Probably won't get the support to do it. But it doesn't mean he can't destroy the city still. Doesn't mean that he can't destroy the city still. Let's listen to this in closing. Look at this video here from Mamdani in closing. Check this out.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence. That is violence of the highest degree. We have
Violence is an artificial construction. He's one of those math is racist people. You know, people are like, you know, math, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. That's racist, apparently. Standardized testing is racist. You know, getting a formal education is racist. You know, and then now violence is a social construct. Apparently, there's no such thing as violence. What he's telling you is that he's planning on, you know, releasing violent offenders throughout the streets of New York. As if New York isn't violent enough already. Right? This guy wants to defund the police while having his own private personal police to protect him, but social workers to protect you while releasing violent criminals from the prisons because violence is a social construct or artificial construct, whatever nonsense he just said. Come on, man. Yeah, I mean, the people of New York got to do better. But when the inmates run the asylum, I don't know how you can. New York, just like New York City, just like Chicago. Well, actually, New York State, you know, overall, just like Illinois, not just Chicago, and California, not just Los Angeles. They've seen a population decrease. I believe all 3 states, especially particularly the cities, Los Angeles and whatnot. They see the population decrease for 10 years straight, a decade straight. Of population decrease year after year after year after year. Chicago for sure, California for sure, and I believe New York as well. If not 10 years straight, at least 8 years straight. What that means is all of the reasonable people have left. And the only ones left in the city are the crazies. And the people that should care the most don't seem to care, right? Because they're not participating. So here you go. A complete lunatic getting ready to run the city of New York. And the only real chance of stopping him, let's just be honest, my man with the red beret, you know, he from my understanding, he gets a decent amount of votes, but he's not going to win, right? It would really be between Cuomo and Eric Adams, you know, to beat this guy. I mean, I guess my man with the red beret, you know, Curtis, we'll just say his name is Curtis, could win too. But my point is this, because I'm just kind of dragging it right now. It would take for those 3 to unite against Mamdani to win. Because those 3 cancel each other out. Like I said, Curtis, my man with the red beret, he, from what I've seen a little bit, he gets decent amount of votes, you know, from the conservatives that are there in New York. Cuomo, if I'm not mistaken, he said he's going to run as an independent now too. You have Adams who's going to run as an independent. they're both taking votes away from each other. It would take 2 out of the 3 to drop out, and the 2 that drop out say we're endorsing the one who didn't. So now all of our supporters go support this guy. You know, that's what it would take to beat Mamdani. And from what I've seen, that's just not going to happen. Curtis, you know, my man with the red beret, he doesn't rock with Eric Adams at all. And to be honest with you, Eric Adams and Cuomo, they don't like each other at all. Cuomo doesn't seem to have any plans anytime soon to endorse Eric Adams, vice versa. But that's literally what it would take. For the sake of New York, it would take those 3, 2 out of the 3 to get behind the one that doesn't get out and endorse him in order to have their supporters get, you know, that one over the hump to beat Mamdani. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, man. And that's very unfortunate because this guy is a lunatic and a future crook. And with all that being said, that does it for today's news. So please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And also do not forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. And until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.